All right, let's kick it. Welcome to the Sobriety Diaries, friends. My name is Nate. I am a grateful recovering alcoholic and sober coach. My addiction has shaped the person I am today and given me the ability and voice to help others, and I simply wouldn't be here without it. Recovery is possible. The Sobriety Diaries is a video podcast where we talk to other recovering alcoholics and addicts. We hear their stories and hope to help others who may still be struggling. Head on over to the sobrietydiaries.com where you can apply to be a guest on the show and join our insiders list for early release episodes, exclusive content, and much more. Also, please share this podcast with just one person in your life who may still be struggling. You just never know what they may need to hear today. Happy Sober Day, friends. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode and spending time with me here on the Sobriety Diaries. Well, I've been teasing this one for a while on social media, and it's finally here. Lisa Lampanelli is joining us today, along with her co-hosts, Beau McDowell and Nick Scopoletti, from their podcast, Losers with a Dream. It's such a unique combination of personalities and input, and something that you really don't see from three comedians, but they really go deep on the podcast. We talk today about gratitude and really the underlying cause to our addictions and how service has been huge in helping all of us really recover. Lisa has struggled with food issues and codependency issues in the past. Beau is a recovering addict, and Nick, we find out, was addicted to fitness and bodybuilding and was using steroids for a period of time. So it's interesting how we can pull from each of these experiences and be able to find laughter in our shared lived experience. And that's why, I wanted to name the episode today Finding Laughter in Recovery, and really focus on the recovery aspect more importantly than the addiction aspect, and just showcase that recovery is possible. We can find joy again in life. We laugh a lot in this episode, as you can imagine. Let's open the diary on Lisa, Beau, and Nick. Lisa Lampanelli, Jesus Christ, thank you for coming on the Sobriety Diaries.
I'm so excited. I'm here with my podcast partners, Beau McDowell and Nick Scopoletti. Ooh. And basically, I call them placeholders for real comics when I have a better podcast. But for now, we're the losers with a dream. Guess who the biggest loser is?
Beau.
Not me.
This guy.
My friend.
I'm doing so good. I am in awe of what's happening right now. I want to start with how the fuck we ended up here. And if I could...
Yes. Would you like to hear literally how we ended up on your show?
Well, I want to start with a very poetic DM that I got from one Beau McDowell. And it starts, "Hey, Beau McDowell here."
Like he's supposed to know that.
Yeah, the world's famous.
And it came in that junk column of DMs where it's no one you ever heard of or know. And he said, "I recently launched a podcast with comedy legend Lisa Lampanelli and my friend Nick Scopes, and we are interested in coming on your show. Is that something we can chat about?" Fuck yeah, it is. Did a little digging and realized it was legit. And that's all I know. That was a week ago today, and here we are.
Well, thank you for scheduling it, because the way it came about for me was that, these guys, honestly, they're both comedians. They both have about 3 years since they started. And I was talked into going to see Beau by my niece. And when it comes to nieces and nephews, I try to do anything I can, to help out their friends who are charity cases. So I went and saw him and I was like, oh my God, he's good. So then I started observing some of Nick's act and I was like, wow. And then off stage, the best part was that they have such deep conversations off stage. And I was like, okay, I have never met two straight guy millennials who actually have feelings, talk about it, and aren't afraid to go deep. So I was like, let's do a podcast and I'll come on. We'll talk about one big issue every week, like acceptance or fear of success or vulnerability. And then they'll talk about the issue from their point of view. Then I'll come on and straighten them out, read them the riot act, roast them, have a good time, and basically educate everyone. So yeah, it's great. It's called Losers with a Dream. I don't hate them yet. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
But I would say, oh, and the reason we contacted you, the bigger, more important thing is because I said to Beau, you're sober for what? How many years?
4 years.
4 years, supposedly. I'm not buying it. I think it's more like one, but he really does walk the walk. I mean, he really goes to meetings. He even does a coffee commitment. And I'm like, what's that? Like drunks need coffee? I guess they do.
They do.
So I know, right? And cigarettes. So I said, why don't you approach some of these sober podcasts? Because I would love to kind of hear their take on it. And I'd love to kind of be aligned with people who are really in keeping with our values.
Yeah. Yesterday's episode hit different this morning. I listened to it and there are some things that are coming up for me and I'm fearful, and I would love to kind of run those past you, Lisa, and ask for some guidance as well. You know, we walk through sobriety journeys here, so I would love to kind of hear some from Beau.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I mean, yeah. So I've been clean and sober 4 years, and I mean, in terms of the journey, like, you know, when I decided I wanted to get clean, I think I thought it was like really never possible. You know, like, I didn't think that like long-term sobriety was a thing. You know, like everybody that I saw at like a meeting that said they had 25 years or like 30 years, I was like, you're lying. There's no way. You got a bottle underneath there somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, you just couldn't buy it. And also I couldn't buy that they were happy too. You know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to be happy and not be boozing, not putting something in your body? But like these people were, and it was shocking. And, you know, I kind of had this bottom where it was a physical bottom. I had 4 ulcers in my stomach. They were bleeding. I was coughing up blood. I was miserable. You know, a lot of depressive episodes. And, you know, at some point, just the physical toll kind of outweighed the kind of the fun of drinking, right? So I was just in too much pain all the time, going through, you know, the DTs and all that stuff that we do as drunks. And, you know, I ended up going to a meeting and getting connected with people that were walking the walk and doing the right thing. And, you know, I showed up and I just started doing it. And it took time. I definitely was not like sold on it for a while. Like, it took me a lot of relapses. There was a lot of talks with different people in recovery being like, you know, I don't know, man, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
I'm miserable still, because, and you know, just as well as anybody, right? Like, when you put down the booze or the drugs or anything that you use to hide these feelings, your life gets unaccountably worse the second you start living sober, right?
Yes.
Because now you don't have a solution, right? So the solution was gone. So I was miserable, and I had no way to get out of that misery. So,
well, I mean, thank God he has gambling and food to fall back.
Right.
I really feel like he's killing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, time and I think patience, and I had to really, we talk about entitlement on the show. I really had to kind of wear down that sense of entitlement that I carried from years of just being like, everything should work out. I should always be happy. I should always feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think over time, understanding that, like, having the patience and sitting through periods of your life where you're not happy or where you're just in pain, and just letting it happen and walking through that fear. And, you know, you end up picking up some days of sobriety. You start having some like clean time, and then you get to help other people, which is always like the gift, right? That's truly the gift. So, you know, it's been a long journey, but I think that it's really probably in the early stages. If you think about it long term, I'm pretty young, you know, I'm 28.
Yeah.
And I look like I'm 45. Calzone's doing number on. So, it's there's a long way to go, and but as well as anybody, it's like you're just trying to focus on today, and today I had a pretty good day.
Yay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How was your date last week?
My date, so the date actually went great. I was smitten.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Yep.
I
Finally in a
called.
good mood consistently.
Yeah, I called her. I go, it's happening. You know what I mean? Like all excited. And then about 5 days later, she goes, you know what? It'd just be nice to stay friends. And it's all about, we talk about it in one of our episodes, death of a dream. Like you meet somebody, you think, hey man, this could be this could, I have a dream now of being with this person. And then that thing dies. And even if it's 5 days, it still hurts because you're like, man, I really thought that could have worked out.
It's hard not to set those expectations, isn't it?
Absolutely. But,
Yep.
It's too bad. And I did all of we talked about active listening on that podcast.
Yes.
You killed it on the date.
I was listening
to you.
Yeah. I was listening.
Yeah, I was proud of you because, he made a huge step as far as dating goes, just to kind of, first of all, mourn the end of it. Even if it's one date, it still has an end and there's a grief involved.
Yep.
And also he acted better on the date. And, I think those are both things that are progress. And ultimately, I think both of these guys are brave enough to always talk about that they do want love. They do want kids. They don't want to, they're not bro-y, which is why I'm friends. I can't be friends with bros.
Like I can't either. And
don't.
Yeah. By the way,
not to be.
Yes. I understand though that I've been hired as Lisa Lampanelli's new gay.
Yes,
and I just haven't received my onboarding paperwork yet, or
I'll send you the membership card.
Okay.
You put that with your vaccination
okay, great.
card and we're all set.
Perfect. When you get deep and you're discussing these, really vulnerable things, and to your point, Lisa, it's not something that like from the outside you would expect, and it just really is. It draws you in, and I really love it.
Thank you. And to be honest with you, I give myself full credit for that.
I do too.
Because, interchange two straight guys here. Actually, that's not true because honestly, I do. It's a very unique combination. I really like it. That's why I was like, oh, if I'm going to do a project in retirement, like this is something to work on. It's really cool.
Do you feel though it bleeds into personal lives too? Like, are you guys texting one another 24/7? Is it like do we have a throuple here? Is it?
Well, no, what's interesting is I feel like they're my special needs nephews what's weird is like, I have a nephew actually about Beau's age. And I'm like, oh, he's wise. Like Beau's wise. And so is my nephew. So I'm like, oh, it's the age group that's cool that there are those people. And we do hang out. Like last night, Beau did like an audition in the city for a really good comedy club. And we all drove in and supported him and stuff. And it was just so much fun. I was like, I had no idea I could be with people half my age and laugh all the way there, have a serious talk all the way there, then come home and be laughing and just having a good time. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's just, I think people being more open to friendships they wouldn't necessarily imagine. Like a year ago, if you said, who are your friends going to be in retirement? I'd be like, a bunch of yentas who sit around and talk. And we think we're like, I'd be like, I'm with like the ugly Sex in the City. You know what I mean? And it's like funny to have literally friends who, wow, they're young. Like it's just weird and male and straight. Like I always thought I'd only be friends with gay guys and women. Turns out there's two straight guys who aren't a pain in the cunt. I couldn't believe it.
You said something in yesterday's episode that I can relate to and use often, and that is cunt hair.
Yes.
And it's just like it's a unit of measurement, right?
Yes, it is. What it is, and I think I have it here. It's in one of my desks. There's a literal thing. If you go on chr.com, and I'm not kidding, there is a cunt hair ruler for sale. It is literally a measuring device that builders use, and it makes me laugh so hard because I think I had jokes about it in my special or something. And I'm like, because you'll hear a builder at your house or a contract goes, hey, just, move it over to contact. And I'm like, that is my favorite.
It's
so I'm
my
glad
favorite.
it's an official thing.
I saw you in Columbus, Ohio at the Palace Theater a few years back, and
Fantastic. I'm
yeah, you told it. You told a you told a joke about B. Arthur.
Oh my God, what did I say? I forgot.
Something about she farted backstage, and it smelled like Jean Nate.
Oh, that's what I said. She's so old. That's a roast joke I said about her. Yeah, she farted. B. Arthur's so old, she farted. I smell Jean Nate. That wooden song stays on my mind. Which, by the way, great joke for people over the age of 50. And I'm glad you get it because you're clearly younger than that. So, I love doing roast style jokes all the time. And that stuff was so much fun. And B. Arthur, by the way, if I had to be a Golden Girl, I'm her. I'm Dorothy for real.
Same.
I mean, Bo's definitely the dumb one. That would be Rose. And he's the whore, Blanche.
You're the whore? Oh, yes.
So exciting.
Yes.
Here's the thing about Nick that I really like. There's a lot I don't like. Don't get me wrong. He's fucking lazy and kind of stupid. But what's great about Nick is he's super open about discussing what counts in life. And he also is so gay friendly, meaning he is not threatened. I cannot stand straight guys who are threatened by gay guys. It makes me sick. It's never felt right to me. When I got married the second time, Jimmy Big Balls, as you know, we're still friends. He loved all my gay friends. In fact, on our first phone conversation, I said to him something like, just as a test, I said, oh, my gay friend Ron, my gay Ron or whatever. And he goes, oh, you could just say my friend Ron. I'm really comfortable with gay guys. And I was like, okay, thank God. So that's what I like about him, especially because he just kind of gives a fuck. Like I really can't take that.
So how big were Jimmy's balls exactly?
Okay, well, I will tell you, I never measured them, but it was, will not exaggerate, Cabernet glasses. Now, as you know, Cabernet goes in the round one, more like a small grapefruit, but definitely a large orange. So somewhere in that vicinity. And as a straight woman, I know you gays love the balls. I could never stand it. It looked like that thing that the hobo ties on a stick that puts over his shoulder. I shouldn't have to put up with any of it. That's why I'm single and I'm never dating again, because a nutsack is definitely something to waste.
I like a good testicle, but it seems like it's just over.
Wait, a good testicle is an oxymoron. There's no such thing. No one cares.
Disagree.
Even Armstrong got one cut off.
Disagree. Hey, can I ask you about Kathy Griffin? What do you think about all that stuff?
Poor Kathy Griffin. She goes through a lot.
I know.
And, we talk often about things like what have we brought on ourselves and what have we really truly been a victim of, and the poor thing gets lung cancer without smoking. I mean, you literally did not bring that on yourself. But so I try to tweeze out with myself things I actually brought on myself and things I didn't. And I really feel like comics bring a lot on ourselves. We kind of misbehave and then get upset when our career is canceled. We get upset when our dates go away because we do some crazy stunt. And then we just got to own it and go, that was on me. And there's cancel culture. It's not good, but we have to accept, as you know, life on life's terms. You got to live with the consequences of this crazy day and age. So, but anytime somebody's going through a lot, it's sad.
Very sad. And to never have a sip of alcohol or never smoked a cigarette, and then sort of this trauma in adulthood, I think, from the backlash and the cancel culture. And I think we look for something to quiet, I think, the inside, right? And my heart breaks for her.
I think with people like Kathy Griffin and Joan Rivers and people like that, and really, if you watch the show Hacks on HBO Max, Gene Smart plays a comic who's sort of like kind of struggling to stay at the top. You mistake achievement and accomplishments for self-love, and it really doesn't ever make you feel better. As someone who's reached pretty high heights as a comic and was in pretty rarefied air, no matter how many times you stay at the Peninsula in your $3,000 a night suite, you don't feel better about yourself. Yeah, it's fun. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Or you play Radio City or whatever. And then you're just like, oh, I like myself literally no better than I did the day before. So
Yeah.
you've got to really look at what you're doing and how you're living. And to me, the only real cure for addiction, even though I'm not an expert because I've never been a drug and alcohol person, just food and codependence, is connection. Like Johan Hari's book about connection literally is the savior.
Changed my life.
Right. Because it's
Yes.
a connection to people, nature, cause,
Yes.
whatever many areas that you can connect to. I'm like, oh, that's what I got to do. So in retirement, I had a few years where I tried other careers and different things. And I was like, oh, nothing feels right unless it's connection to people and things that really matter, not material things, but nature and things like that. I'm like, oh, okay. So now we're getting it right.
Yeah.
And the thing about this podcast is this Losers with the Dream that I'm doing with these guys. I'm like, oh, it's because we connect, we have fun, but also we're connecting with this audience that's like, oh my God, like that resonates with me. And you feel good about that because you're helping and you're not being self-serving, you know?
Yes. I think alcohol for me was just a symptom of, we hear that in the rooms too, Beau, a lot. I'm sure that, that's not something that you're hearing for the first time, but I didn't know what it was really. And I got sober at 32. I had a stroke at the age of 32, directly resulted from my alcoholism, and ended up in the hospital. Wasn't ready to quit drinking yet, but it started this path, and I went into rehab not even knowing who I was as an adult. As a 32-year-old man, what were my likes, my dislikes? I associated my entire personality with alcohol and partying, and I love having conversations about recovery and addiction where drugs or alcohol aren't mentioned. It's that deeper issue. It's why we drink. It's quieting those voices. And I think, to your point, the only way that I've been able to sustain that is by helping other people.
Right. And he's very good with that. Like he said, every Monday that coffee gets made.
It's made, damn it.
He did abandon me in the lurch when I needed some advice. He was supposedly asleep at 11 o'clock. Like, what guy goes to sleep at 11? But other than that, he's a very helpful guy. Nick, useless as a tit on a bull. Couldn't care less about anybody but himself. But I'm like, okay, one of them's good. One of them's, he's the one we work on.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, they're both good because they really show up for people. Nick really shows up for his dad. I mean, that's tough. His father goes into the city every day for some medical stuff, and Nick's always around, like fucking driving him. I'm like, oh my God, like kill me.
Yeah.
So I think I like the service aspect of, wow, that kind of made somebody's day. It's kind of cute. It's nice.
Yeah. Can I run something past you?
Me or them? Because they're used.
Everybody.
Okay. I'll take it from here, bitch.
So we've had some success with the podcast, and I've talked to some sort of mentors, I guess, in the recovery podcasting arena. And I'm thinking about focusing on addiction and recovery, specifically in the queer community, and sort of transitioning to that and telling, the Sobriety Diaries, stories of recovery from a queer perspective, or in the queer community, or something in which I can lend a voice to both. But I have this fear, which is why the episode hit me this morning when I was doing my yoga. Am I alienating people that have become a fan of the show? Am I limiting my, reach or whatnot? Or do I follow this sort of voice and my gut and go with it?
You already know the answer. So, because you don't even need any of us to say, yes, do this, because you clearly know you're supposed to be doing it, because it wouldn't come up in your gut. I always say, I hate hell yeah. Those people who go, if it's not a hell yeah, it's such an Instagram piece of shitty advice.
Stupid.
It's not a hell yeah, I'm not doing it. Well, you know, you're a fucking cunt who like decides to do the same crazy shit. Always is. Dude, it's a habit. It's a bad habit. That's why it's a hell yeah.
Yeah.
You have a deeper knowing. That's God. So you're just like, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this, and it's fear that's holding me back. And I think in my book, I would rather have 1,000 dedicated fans who love me because I'm being fully that thing than 10,000 who are kind of half in and I'm only half doing what I think I'm supposed to. So you know already you're supposed to do it.
Right.
It's just getting past the fear of whatever it is you're scared of.
Yeah, I also think, you know, a good thing that I always ask myself is, am I being of maximum service, right? And you have a very unique experience, right? Your experience is not just being an addict. You have an experience of, you know, being in the queer community. So if you were to not use that experience, then you're hindering yourself from helping people, right? So
yeah,
I don't think that there's anything wrong with maximizing your story to help others.
That's a great point. And you know, there's gay meetings, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, so that's an indication that, wow, if that's something that already exists, this is a path you want to take. You could do something funny, like you could devote 5 minutes a podcast to some straighty issue and just make a funny sequence out of it.
Okay.
So you can kind of keep people interested.
Yeah. Right.
Or you could just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go full, is my expression is, you go full bush. You fucking go full bush into the gay. As long as you air us, because we're straight. But no, I think we all know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And fear of success is tough because it's that whole like, uh-oh, how much will my life change if I really succeed? It might be like, oh my God, the stakes will get really high and I'll have to bid adieu to my little calm life. Or it'll be like fear of failure. Oh, suppose this thing bombs. And the thing is, I always think, I mean, I've had a lot of bombs in the past few years. I'm like, oh, if I allow myself to grieve over it and move on, then I'm like, oh, that was a success, even though it was a failure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's this imposter syndrome too, where it's like, what do I have to offer these people? Where I know, I've fucking lived this shit and can at least offer my own story, which is like the most helpful thing that we can do in recovery. But I can't help, but it creeps in,
I know it's going to sound super cliche, but who are you not to do this? Like, how dare you keep this from other people? So it's a selfishness if you look at it, because you're like, suppose you were the guy who's like, I'm never telling my story again. I'm like, that's a dick move. So who aren't you to write the book or to do the album or to, write the song or whatever it is? And it's like, oh, okay, I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, but I have something to say. I think the problem is it's comparison a lot too. It's like, well, I'm not insert sober guy here who's famous. I'm not Johan Hari, so who am I? Well, I'm a guy with a story and it's valid, and let's see where it takes me. It's just kind of pushing through.
I seek this external validation too.
Of course. Yeah.
Which is
you're
why
you're talking to three people who have to literally make people captive. Like
strangers, people we don't even know.
Yeah,
we gotta get them to love us.
And not even that. We pick the one profession where the freaking people are like, if they even move, we're allowed to call them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so basically capture a bunch of people, put them in a room, they are forced to listen to us. So I mean, it's and
provide that instantaneous validation. Yeah, that laughter, right?
Yeah. And what's great is I felt I didn't need it anymore, because thank God I discovered I didn't want to do it anymore. So I didn't want it to appear less joyful. So that's why I retired from it. But I super get the call of it and the pull of it. I understand why people do it. But I do not understand how people stay in stuff they're miserable at, but they don't learn the lessons that I did, I guess, and they don't get out before they are sad and miserable people.
How was your time with Donald Trump?
Weird because yes, miserable. No, I was lucky enough that I did the roasts of Trump, and The Apprentice before it was insane to
Right,
deal with
right.
them. And even after The Apprentice, like Eric Trump used to text me and be like, oh, can you do this benefit for St. Jude's? And like, I'm not going to say no to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That's
Right.
like clearly evil to not do that. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. And then everything went off the rails. But, with everything with Trump, I clearly don't agree with like literally anything he says.
Anything.
But during the roasts and The Apprentice, I was like, well, him saying he wants to be president is kind of like the little kid who says they want a pony for Christmas. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And then the craziness started. I mean, at the time he was saying, I'm going to buy the New York Mets and I'm going to do this and that. I'm like, great for a bankrupt guy. Enjoy your no money.
Right.
But so at the time it was all a joke. But thank God, after that, the texts stop. And I only got one text from a Trump in the last 4 years, which was Eric Trump just going, miss you, American flag, American flag, American flag. And so I called my manager, I go, what the fuck? And she goes, just answer back and go, hi, hope you're well. And then that's it. She goes, but don't delete the number because you don't want him to sneak up on you again. So it got diffused. It wasn't anything bad, but boy, oh boy, nutty, right?
Yeah, completely.
I just read a book called The New Retirementality. I have been searching for a book that doesn't talk about financial retirement because I have a financial guy. That's not what I need. But the adjustment you have to make to retirement, which is, do you have a lack of purpose? Do you have a lack of meaning? The stuff that comes up like, oh my God, I'm spending all this money and no money's coming in.
Yeah.
So no matter how much money you have, it looks weird. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, you're going, wow, what am I going to do? Your scarcity kicks in. So no, I was doing a bunch of stuff that I tried and didn't enjoy. And then I was like, oh, I just want to do nothing for a while. So for a year, I literally forced myself to do nothing. And that was during the pandemic. And I found I was downsizing from a big house to a small one, downsizing my friendships that weren't working, decluttering my house. I got rid of 90% of my stuff. I like totally minimized things. And I was like, wow, I really want to minimize activity. So I don't do anything that just doesn't feel joyful and fun. And that doesn't mean, it's not serious stuff, but it's joyful.
Yeah.
Like I volunteered at a place the last 2 weeks and I didn't find the second time joyful. So I was like, well, that's not right for me. So with coaching, I was like, oh, it's not right for me to do individual stuff because I'm not really good at waiting patiently for people to make their own changes. I was like,
Yeah.
you're idiots. I was like, with the podcast, it's like the coaching techniques that I
Yes.
learned, at least it helps, but I don't have to sit there waiting for people to change. And also you can just accept people as they are. So yeah. So basically now I kind of do the podcast, the occasional storytelling show when I want, and they kind of just live and have fun and have friendships. Thank goodness.
I love that. Beau, I was hoping that you would wear your crop top today, but
yeah, we were all thrilled with that. I was like, dude, how does he keep that? He should have had me over there to say that's disgusting. But you know what? At least he got rid of stuff. I don't know what he got rid of, but I know his mother found a thong. I don't want to know about that. It was Nick's.
Yes.
Sometimes I think that if like, your closet is a mess or your room or your apartment is a mess, then it's easier for you to feel like you're a mess. And it definitely like, it was with anything, you just eventually hit a bottom. I had not cleaned my my closet in years. And I had no plan to start cleaning. And then all of a sudden you look at it and you're like, hey man, like we just got to do something. So, it's kind of the same way I ended up getting sober. It's like, I didn't plan on getting sober, but all of a sudden that day comes and you go, all right, I can't do this anymore.
I like to hit a bottom every now and again.
Who
But right.
A sloppy one.
A sloppy one.
You know what's wild too, though? What's great about our show and these guys, and definitely me, we're not nailing it all the time.
No.
We are not fixed. And I think any coach or shrink who tells you they're fixed, run the fucking other way.
Right.
They're a douchebag. I mean, people who are even famous shrinks admit to still working their stuff out and still go to therapy. So I just started therapy 3 weeks ago with this trauma therapist because I didn't have, thank God, any traumas with a capital T, just a lot with a small t. And I was like, okay, let me finally get to this at this age. You get to a certain point where you go, well, I got to go deeper. This is it's contained within you. So I don't think it'll ever stop. I think I'll be 80, 90 years old and still going, okay, I want to unearth that and work on that. So that's why I like the podcast, because we don't present it like we have all the answers. I mean, even me, who is rich and famous and, killing it and beauty
and gorgeous. Let's talk about gratitude. Beau, what are you grateful for today? Today in this moment on Tuesday.
I'm gonna do my list right now.
Better be me, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm very grateful for the two of them.
But me like more.
Okay.
Right. No,
I am. I'm very grateful for both of them, and Lisa, and just the I don't know, the ability to like be present here and listen, and like the fact that I have a clean closet at home is pretty good too. You know what I mean? But I would say right now I'm just grateful I have no health problems. I have
that'll change.
They're coming.
My anxiety is pretty well under control today.
He's very calm today. He's wearing all white too. He looks like he just got out of P. Diddy's white party.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. Thank God we're in Connecticut, where it's classy.
Yeah.
Tennis.
Labor Day's coming.
Just testing out the threads, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I, so I'm grateful for that. And, like I said, the anxiety has been under control, which is great. I spend a lot of days very anxious, or, days where I feel very depressed. So just to be even keel today and be like, you know what? I had a great show last night with some friends. Today I'm talking to you. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you? What are you grateful for?
Oh shit. I'm grateful that this is happening, and I am grateful. So I bought a little camper not long ago, and I am heading out to the wilderness tomorrow for a long weekend with my family. And
Cute.
yeah, so yeah, I'm grateful for that. The weather's supposed to be beautiful. I have a little asshole chihuahua that's coming with me, and he'll get to fucking chase everyone around.
Mine's asleep over there.
So is he. His name's Dash. I don't know where he is.
Aw, cute. Where are you located? Where's your home?
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, you are still in Columbus.
Yeah.
Columbus? You do?
I used to go to the Arnold Classic.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, we know, bro.
Yeah.
Such a sweet-
You used to like
Yeah,
lift and shit.
addiction. That was my problem.
Got it.
Alcohol or drugs. It was just body image stuff, taking steroids at a young age. I never thought I had any. When we had to do our addiction episode, I literally had to reference to Beau. I'd be like, hey, this?
Does this mean,
was this
yeah.
addiction? Was it?
Yeah.
Explain what that is, because when you think of addiction, immediately everyone goes to food, drugs, or alcohol, right? That's the thing.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, I wasn't addicted. And then we started talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely was. Definitely had a problem there. You know what I mean?
I mean, something should have tipped you off when you were shooting a needle into your vein, but
601.
But I wanted to get huge, dude.
Right.
Pumping iron.
Let's talk about the tanning, the self-tanning that goes along with that.
Man, you want to talk about, you say I'm you referenced before how I'm pretty open and comfortable with stuff.
Yeah.
Just imagine, this is literally what happened. I was just wearing a sock.
Ew.
In a cabin in Vermont, and my friends were just painting me.
Well, that sounds like a gay weekend.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, that's why I'm very, no one cares. You know what I mean? Me and my friend, everyone was like, yeah, no one cares. My dad walked in on it once when I was doing a show, and he just looked at me and he goes, good luck tomorrow, and gives me a hug. And then he just
But did you find it really weird that he jerked off? His father's always
It was our Christmas card that year.
Lisa, what are you grateful for?
Well, what's funny is I used to always say, about 10 years ago, I'd be like, I suck at gratitude, because I was always so negative, and I was just always like, oh, I don't know, what do I even have? It's so fucking stupid. It's so hard. And then it started just coming up naturally. It was very weird. There was a big shift when my dad got sick and he passed away, and he was like my person. He was like my favorite person ever. We were super close. And I remember I'd be out like watering the plants and I'd be like, oh, I'm so lucky. Like it would come through my head. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. And I'm like, oh my God, gratitude just got easier because I wasn't forcing it. I was just noticing. I think that's why I retired, because I started to notice life. And when you notice when you're not happy, and you get rid of the things that don't make you happy. So now it's so much easier with gratitude. What aren't I grateful for? Like even a failure, and going, oh my God, thank God that old podcast failed because I could be on this one. Or thank God I, bumped into the idea of ballroom dancing, and I take it twice a week and it's fun, and I sweat with the gays and we have a good time. Like my teacher's this gay guy who's amazing. So it's just like literally there's nothing that I could think of that isn't good to be in my life. It's very weird. It's a huge shift for me from 5-10 years ago.
You attract what you deserve or think that you deserve, right?
Right. Well, I think too, a friend of mine said in Buddhism, they say something like gratitude and resentment can't coexist.
Yes.
And I had so much resentment. I don't even know why. It's probably childhood stuff and entitlement. And we grew up very basic, like lower middle class, like dad and mom each had a job. We didn't have a lot of fancy stuff, but we definitely had white privilege, and we were definitely privileged. But it's like, wow, I really had a lot of anger about stuff that I resented this past.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, the minute you start taking all that stuff out, you can be grateful, but not till you take that out.
Well, guys, I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Listen, you had a terrific time with us. I can tell.
I did.
No, you're amazing. This was really cool. I'm so grateful you had us on. And again, it's just such a night and day way to live in gratitude. And, I'm glad you showed up in our lives. Thank you.
I don't even know how to express my gratitude for this.
Can I tell you one way you can do it?
Please.
Plug our podcast.
Okay, I will. Come on.
By the way, make no fucking money from it. I don't know why I'm even doing it. Because, even if it becomes a huge success, I'm giving all these money to these fucking idiots because I'm rich already. So people should listen to our podcast. It's called Losers with a Dream. Follow at Lisa Lampanelli and these two fucking idiots. And totally subscribe. You'll like it. It's deep but funny, which is literally my vagina. Deep but funny.
That's amazing. New episodes every Monday, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'll link everyone's info and social and all that good stuff in the show notes. Lisa, Beau, Nick, thank you so much for your time. Pleasure was mine. Answer my DMs, okay?
No, constantly. I always do. And by the way, I look forward to when you launch your Gays Only podcast, because I know you can do it. Get the fear out of there. Feel the fear and do it anyway, you little bitch.
Okay, we can't end on a more perfect note than that. Lisa Lampanelli, I appreciate you.
Love you, my friend. We'll talk
Losers,
soon.
see you later.
Bye, honey.
Bye. Okay, holy fuck, that just happened. Lisa Lampanelli, Beau McDowell, and Nick Scopoletti, Losers with the Dream podcast. Check it out. New episodes every Monday. I'll link everything again in the show notes. And I think focusing on gratitude and being able to find laughter again in recovery is important, and something that has helped me evolve and strengthen my recovery. So I hope that you heard something that resonates with you as well. Thanks so much for listening today, friends. You can find all things podcast related and subscribe to our show at thesobrietydiaries.com, youtube.com/Nate Kelly, where we upload today's video podcast, and on Instagram at the Sobriety Diaries Pod. Check back every Wednesday and every Sunday for new episodes, but until then, try your best not to drink and be good to yourself. Bye, friend.